So starting in the upper right, in the blue, he's playing for Mystery Gaming. It's the Protoss player, SCV.
And his opponent, the world champion, the Interan. It's Oliveira for Kaisi game. Or is it Kaisi anymore? They've merged like 30 times.
They are now Dragon Kaitsa Gaming, which, I mean, they got a fun logo, right? You can see it. Well, actually, I don't know if you give the logos mod, but it's yeah, it's a dragon. It's got a flame on the tail. We still got the lightning bolts. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of stuff happening though. I'm a fan of the mystery gaming thing.
Water and wind in there. Yeah, the mystery gaming thing looks cool for sure. I like it. It's the Eye of Horus, I think, that they're using.
Mm-hmm. And then the pyramid and the purple swirly mystery. You never know what's happening, and who knows? Maybe SCV has maybe he's got a mystery in store for us. Cats, what do you think? Does he have a plan?
Yeah, the Nexus is the mystery. He's gonna drop it real quick, and now he's just gonna scout to see if he can get away with it on the side of Oliveira, who hasn't and won't be displaying too much outside of the second gas being missing here. That's the information that SCV gets on what he came for, so he will know that Oliveira will be on his tail pretty much as far as the expansion is concerned. He'll try to deny it for as long as possible, actually forcing Oliveira to place it off position. That's already a nice little victory for that. I was gonna say SCV because you hover over the pro, but it says SCV. But yeah, a good start, I would say, for SCV. This is kind of what you want, I think.
Yeah, even if it is 1 second, maybe, where you go and you have to lift it up and drop it back down. This is not a Zerg player. This is not a Protoss player where they would actually just be in a lot of trouble misplacing that. It's still something, and the probe continues to be annoying, so it forces the Reaper back. It delays the scout here. It doesn't. No, okay,
yeah. Almost gets in.
I believed there for a second, Cats. I thought that SCV might die.
It would have if Oliveira. Did my internet connection die?
No, we got you.
Oh, it said internet connection lost on the panel thing. But yeah, I was saying it would have if Oliveira didn't pull his SCV out of repair to help the Reaper. But that pans out really nicely for SCV. Like, yes, he loses the probe, but the nice thing is now he kind of gets away with this much earlier expansion, which was pretty greedy, and he knows that he is fine to do so as well. And delaying the Reaper on the other side is nice for those reasons as well. You know, you didn't have to get a shield battery or extra current boost, anything. You can just kind of get away with your greed, and you pay with the probe that already did good for you. So
yeah, and on top of that,
the start.
And on top of that, you talk about a quick Nexus here. This is a pretty quick Twilight coming out of SCV right now. I mean, Blink getting started at 3 minutes means he's going to be able to be active on the map very early on. And not only has, well, Oliveira, he's seen that this is an early Nexus. That's about the only thing he has seen. So, you know, Cats, as we move on here, and an Adept gets into the main base. I don't know that it's going to get an SCV necessarily, but it's a full scout. And yeah, it's going to get...
Could get. Oh, misclicks.
Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, could have gotten an SCV, but the full scout is the important part, like you were saying. Like, he does get to see the Banshee and Cloak being researched, or maybe he didn't see Cloak being researched, but in any case, he saw the Starport and the Banshee, so that's a really nice chunk of information for him to get. Maybe we should see a Robo. Yeah, it's already finishing, in fact, and that'll help really, really good against this Banshees, especially with the Blink coming up.
Absolutely. So with the Blink finishing up here, the only thing we have to take a look at is this Robo. You're right, it is on the way. We're looking at 3 gateways right now, is whether we get a Warp Prism, whether SCV really decides to commit to this 3 base or 3 gate sort of pressure, whether it's just going to be a 3 gate expand like it looks like right now. Just how aggressive really SCV decides to play this. So the Reaper gets into the main base. He's going to see what's happening. At the very least, he sees that 3rd gateway, and honestly, Cats, that 3rd gateway, that's a pretty big scout. That's the difference between this being a 2-gate sort of Colossus expand versus maybe something a little bit more aggressive. So even with that, I mean, Oliveira, he gets the solid scout. And now the question is, how much does this Banshee get done?
Shouldn't get anything done, to be honest. The Observer is already here. Stalkers with Blink are available. Even an unnecessary probe pool there. The Stalkers are kind of not following the Banshee as much as they should, perhaps, but the Banshee is gonna give them the respect that they deserve and just stuck itself back in the corner there. So things are still looking very good for SCV in my opinion. Should he survive this push, if his third doesn't get denied, I mean, it's all about that. There's no shield battery there, all that said, though. So won't be easy. And free roam for Oliveira to move out on the map as well, untaxed by the Blink Stalkers. So yeah, this is a little rough from that perspective.
And this is a bit of a weird push, though, right? There's no stim, there's no combat shields. It's just Marines and tanks and that Banshee on top. So now the question is whether SCV is going to be able to defend this. The two tanks, they're going to siege up there. And yeah, you got to blink away from that one. He's just going to give the base up, understands that he can't hold. And already here, this is a pretty nice thing for Oliveira. Free stim, free combat shields, free any of those upgrades that the Terran might like. And, well.
Am I lagging the game?
I just got a brief blip. I couldn't tell who lagged it though. May have been you.
Game paused.
Yeah. So it looks like Cats is killing the game, which is sad, but
I just left the game, yeah.
Okay. So we should be ready to go. We're gonna go back into it.
This OBS Ninja keeps telling me my connection is lost. Like, I guess, yeah, because I'm lagging the game as well, so not sure what's going on.
I don't know. What I do know is that 7 probes, they've died, as the Banshee is just, at this point, going to continue to be obnoxious. I would have liked to see Oliveira turn the cloak off a little bit earlier, but it's working out here. So, Cat's 8 probes dead. The Nexus dead. All this greed that SCV has been looking for to try to give himself some opportunity in this game, all of it's gone. None of it's doing particularly well. So now Oliveira, you talked about running the map here, having all the space in the world. That is incredibly true now. And what's the first thing he does when he gets home? Missile turret. No DTs here. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to die to like the one thing that SCV might have to make sure that to provide some sort of comeback. We still have you guys. Okay, so Stalkers now at the third base. They're gonna kill a couple of these SCVs, or SCV kills a couple of the SCVs. But at this point, the army of Oliveira is pretty dang strong. He's got combat shields done. Stim's gonna be done soon enough, and round 2 of the push happens. At this point, SCV doesn't have that third base, as we talked about. He's got a bit more of an army. He's got 1 Colossus. He's got the Immortal here. This army that Oliveira is building for himself with Stim +1 done in 10 seconds is going to be really, really strong. SCV's doing a great job. He's knocked the Widowmine down. He really has done something, and he's going to stim up the ramp here. Oliveira just a little bit disjointed, but even still, the target fire from the tanks, the Marauders, everything. The shield battery does nothing. And this third base looks doomed to die at the very least, but now 3 tanks are here, and Oliveira gets on top of the Colossus. 1 will fall for the cost of a tank, and at this point, 2 tanks are still here. The bio, though, it's getting a little thinner. Even still, this third base dead in the ground. Stalkers getting on top of the tanks as they can, and they will get the tanks. But it's a third base dead. It's a Colossus dead. It is so much dead here for SCV. And Oliveira, he's got his third base up. He's got reinforcements on the way. Even if this push did not kill SCV. It seems like the next one might, or the next one might, because Oliveira, he just continues to go from strength to strength at this point. Stims up the ramp. The force field does not hit. Colossus is dead. Oliveira, he takes game 1. And hopefully, we're going to get Cats back soon. Yeah. Apparently, unfortunately, Cats has lost his internet. So that is that, but we'll get him back when we can. And for now, you're just stuck with me, myself, and I, my lonesome, and a nice little clear box off to my left side. It can be your imagination. It's whatever you want it to be. But certainly, a game 1 victory. There's a bit of an imagination there coming on in for SCV. Despite the double agent tactics, despite trying to convince Oliveira that he was one of his own SCVs, game 1, in fact, looks really solid for Oliveira. Even with the lack of a scout, he's able to figure out what's happening. He goes, gets in the main base, sees the third gateway, sees the third base, hits with the timing before Stim is done, an oddball timing that SCV really didn't expect. And then, well, that just happened. We get to move on. So game 2 is going to be on, let me check my spreadsheet. What is the Game 2 map. Game 2 is going to be on Oceanborn, so a bit more of a wide open third base, maybe an eBay block. We've been seeing Terrence do that one quite a bit. So maybe we see Oliveira go for that one. Maybe SCV has something more in store for us than just kind of the significant greed of an early nexus, of an early third nexus, things like that. So we're going to go and we're getting into game 2 in just a second. Hopefully Cats will rejoin us. That'll happen when it happens. But yeah, so Oceanborn, it's a map that we've seen Terran players go for the eBay block on the natural quite a bit, at least the European Terrans. Can't speak to Oliveira's preparation, his setup at the moment in terms of whether he is from, well, I'm sure he's familiar, but whether he has been playing like that, who he's been practicing with, because notably when he was getting ready for Katowice, he was practicing with pretty much everyone in that top 12. This one, I don't know where he is right now. I don't know quite how many people he's practicing with, but if he is, again, maybe an eBay block. We'll see. For now, though, game number 2 here is in the docket, and we are ready to go. In the upper left for Mystery Gaming, in the blue, down a game, SCV. And in the bottom right, in the red, as Kat said, he's the reigning world champion. It's for Dragon Kaitsa Gaming, Oliveira. And now we're just taking a look to see what SCV wants to go for. It's a gateway, so it's not going to be a naked expand, which would be, I think, too greedy even for SCV. But certainly it looks like he's going to go, and yeah. Well, it depends on where he saves the money, but certainly sends a probe down fairly quickly. We'll have to see if he expands before the Cyber goes down. Regardless, though, we're into game 2. And as we talked about this, we talked about it in the pregame, how little these two have played each other's in officials, and that has decided it doesn't want to work. It is very uncommon. We do not see these players play each other, play in officials really all that much. It's been exactly one series. I talked about it at the start. It was a 2-0 for Oliveira last season. Oliveira went for a 2-base all-in, then he went for a base and a half, kind of a Hero Marine type of build. So for following that pattern, game 2, it was aggressive. Or game 1 was aggressive. Game 2 theoretically should be even more so. But SCV not quite as greedy as he was in game number 1. This is a Cyber expand. It's not a gateway expand. And he's just going to continue to be obnoxious here, get this SCV down pretty low maybe, but for now not willing to lose the probe. Maybe wants to go and get a rescout later on. Maybe he doesn't feel like he can lose the probe. That's too much of a hit. I don't know. But what I do know is that the Reaper's going to go find its way to the other side of the map, and the probe for the moment, SCV's probe, it's messing with me. SCV's probe's going to go on the right side. It's going to try to find it. Look, it's not even going to go for the rescout. It's going to find its way right back home. Meanwhile, the Adept on the high ground here, I don't think that Oliveira should be able to get too much done. Game 1, he got absolutely no scouting done. Game 2, much the same. There's a Twilight Council. Although, as I say that, he sees the Twilight Council right at front here. He sees the timing on it. So even that lack of a scout is a scout here for Oliveira in this second game. And the probe. It's the probe. I guess it got home. So not often does a scouting player go and actually get their does the scouting player actually go and get their probe home. Anyways, Blink on the way, additional gateway on the way. So at least 2 gates for now. What we're looking for is a 3rd gate or a 4th gate. 2-gate can be an expand build. You can put pressure on it, absolutely. But if we see SCV commit to more structures, commit to more production, that really, that's going to be the tell as we look at to see what exactly is happening here. As Oliveira, he's committed to maybe one more Hellion than he might sometimes do. In fact, he's going to go for 3 here, so it's going to be Hellion drops in this second game of our series. He's going to try to boost in, end this game very quickly. And against a Twilight opener, that's actually a really solid play. You go Phoenix, you lift him up, it's fine, but you go Twilight Blink, you go Stalkers, this drop tends to hit before the blink is done, before the Stalkers are going to be all that mobile. And realistically, yeah, they do bonus damage to armored units. They don't kill Hellions all that quickly. It really is. Funnily enough, the adepts that die quicker to Hellions are the things that actually just kill the Hellions quicker anyways. So medevac goes out here. Reaper on the map, just looking out for that scout. And SCV, again, he's taking that pretty quick third base. So now that we've seen exactly what's happening here, whether or not SCV is going to be ready for this, that's a different story. What does he have at the main base? He's got 5 Stalkers there. They're getting somewhat ready. I would love to see Oliveira just send his Marines across the map, maybe just feign aggression at the third, force the Stalkers out, and even if you lose a couple, you force the Stalkers out, and then you maybe get the drop into the main. But regardless, the drop now getting ready here. The Stalkers at front. Blink is done. That's a key thing here. This is a little bit easier for SCV to deal with than if it hit a little bit earlier. And again, this drop could have hit earlier. But Oliveira behind this, he's getting interference matrix. He's adding in those Ravens. This observer should die. Maybe. Is it going to get out in time? No, yeah, it's dead. Okay. Observer dead. And I think we actually might see Oliveira hit with a bit of a 1-2 punch. I talked about how sending a couple Marines across the other side, distracting as you get ready for the drop, might be the play. But instead, well, I thought he was going to go maybe hit at the front, but this Hellion drop into the main base right here. Probe, he's trying to put some workers down. That's not going to work out all that easily. Workers will fall. It's even going to be a recall. So at the end of the day, though, oh no. Oh man, I looked at that. It's like 2 probes dead. Stalkers are there. This should be fine. And then it goes to 8 anyways. That final shot there, so many probes getting low, and then the second round of shots knocks it all down. Oh no, SCV. He was looking like he was in a solid spot. He was looking like he was holding, and then now he's only up 5. At the moment, he was only up 5 workers on his opponent, back to 8, 9, something like that. But again, that's pretty heavy damage. Now, not as bad as if this was a 2-base Protoss. Not as bad as if this had hit at 4 minutes. But even still, it does slow SCV down just a little bit. But he's got additional gateways on the way. He's up to something like 6 gateways. Colossus getting built here. This is a setup where SCV can be okay, where he can be happy with how this game is going. But Oliveira is getting ready for his push. Stim done, 13 seconds. +1 done, the same timing. Combat shields will be done by the time he moves onto the other side of the map here. And this is kind of a hybrid build. This is between the 6-minute stim timing, the 7-minute, the 7:30 build. Oliveira's got a third base behind this. This is not all in, but it is heavy committed pressure right now. Stalkers, they're looking for the Raven. Oliveira is going to lose the Raven, so that's going to be a really solid trade, even as only 2 Stalkers die. That's a big deal. And now this army that Oliveira had, I don't think he wants to get too aggressive with it anymore. He's got Widow Mines. Sure, no tanks, nothing to truly deal with this Colossus. So he's just going to have to back up. Stalkers blink forward. Nice Widow Mine shot right there. As Oliveira back onto the high ground, kiting away. SCV wants to push this a little bit. And I can understand why, but Oliveira, he's just going to back up. Maybe put pressure on this 4th base, but losing that Raven means that any pressure he wanted is just not there. Now, Stim onto this 4th base, and we're going to see how many Stalkers go down. It's a great set of force fields coming in from Oliveira, or excuse me, from SCV right there. And on the left side, well, Oliveira, he's got a tiny bit of army. Technically, this is a drop, but not really. It's not even a full medevac worth. Widow Mine, though, it's going to be pretty nice here. And SCV, for the first time in this series, for the first time in as long as these 2 players have played 2 series, 2 seasons, he finds himself in a pretty healthy supply lead. He's got his 4th base done. Oliveira, he's just not finding the pressure that he wants. I think we might have Cats back now.
Oh, I am back. And yeah, you're completely right about that. I haven't been keeping up with the game too much. My internet's been dying, but pretty impressive from SCV.
Yeah, so, and Cats, can you see what's happening in the game? Are you good there?
I can, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, Cats, every time it feels like SCV goes and he rebuffs an attack, he takes an extra base. We're seeing 5 bases for this Protoss player. Oliveira, he's on 3. There's no 4th command center on the way. He's committing to this aggression. So what do you think? Can SCV hold on to go up 2 bases on our Terran? Is that reasonable?
I don't think it's that reasonable, to be honest, especially when you're going up against someone like of the caliber of Oliveira. You're offering an opportunity where if he wins the next fight, then he can kill a base or something of the sorts, or maybe just harass everywhere, and then try to come back into the game. Whereas I feel like if you just hunker down on your 4 bases and see when your opponent is expanding, then you can guarantee a little bit of a bigger army in the inevitable fight that has to be coming up. But if he gets away with it for a couple of minutes, then it's going to be great, obviously. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I love this map vision that SCV has. If you take a look, he's got observers everywhere, pylons everywhere. You talk about how Oliveira on 3 bases here, he might be able to just go bonkers on the harass, start to go everywhere and find value. Well, SCV's just not letting that happen. He's got this line of vision on the right side, really the entire, pretty much every space that he controls on the map. So Oliveira is going to go and get a dropout. If he's going to start that multi-pronging happening, it's going to be really hard. He's taking a 6th base. You got to stop sometime, cats. Like, what is this?
Well, at this point, he's maxed at least, right? So it's not like he could be adding more army instead, but yet still, it's a lot. He is adding an additional 4 gateways, so he will have those reinforcing capacities, and like you said, a beautiful perimeter set up here from SCV with pylons and observers. Oliveira will take taxes on the freebies here for the pylons and break down the rocks to try to come down a ramp, but it looks untenable.
Yeah, so with 5 disruptors in this army, even with the Vikings, it's a decent count. They can knock these Colossus down very quickly, but yeah, the disruptors, and that is something, although cats, we do have to talk about it. These disruptors are not as cost effective as they would have been a month ago, a couple weeks ago, because they're 1 more supply now. It's a lot. This army supply that we look at, 113 of it, that's not as big as it previously was. So you got to be paying attention to it. The sentry will fall. And this army of Oliveira, 125 army supply. This is a big army, and SCV, it feels like he's gonna have to zerg this. He's gonna have to win or lose multiple fights, but win the game off of it. As the Colossus, they're starting to just get shot down here. Look at the splits off those disruptors, cats. Oliveira, he's not taking any damage here whatsoever. It's another round of warpins, and the Colossus, one of them, they still stand strong. The Viking count, for the most part, has gone down here. This is gonna be SCV's time. It's the 2nd fight off the warpins, but it's not enough. Not with the Liberators here as well, and now the Colossus are dead. Oliveira down the ramp on the Concaves, getting everything that he could possibly want. The Disruptors are gonna have to be miracle workers, and cats, they're just not. SCV, again, tried to be the double agent, tried to be the greediest Protoss I've ever seen. But between the nerfs to the Disruptors and just in general going up to 90 probes, he didn't have the army to fight this. Oliveira, what a fight from the man.
Yeah, amazing fight for him, and definitely, I mean, the Disruptors are going to be, as far as cost efficiency is concerned, like, 12.5 minerals less efficient, but as far as supply efficiency, that's a massive deal. Like you were saying, like when you have 6 of those, that's six extra supply that you don't have in your army, and that starts to add up, especially with probe count that you mentioned. So yeah, looking pretty tough now for SCV, and definitely was a little bit too greedy. We were talking about this. It's going to come down to 1 fight, and in that 1 fight, he just kind of spread himself too thin to have enough to combat the world champ. Yeah,
well, luckily he does have this the 6th base from earlier. It's not mining at the moment, but Oliveira doesn't seem to be aware of it. So it's not the end of, well, it's not great for SCV.
It is kind of the end of,
yeah. Make no bones about it, but you know what? It could be worse, cats. It could be worse.
It could be worse. It could be worse. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he maybe gets another fight where he gets maxed out, but this time around, Oliveira is going to have ghosts on top of whatever he had last time, which is already a great improvement to his army with the MPs and whatnot. And yeah, we see SCV trying to get back to a healthy disruptor count, but again, like you mentioned, that's only going to make his army smaller, and he still has 80 workers.
He does, and he's also pretty gas starved. He's only mining off of what it's about 4 gas geysers, something like that in total, 2 of 3, 1 of 3. He doesn't have, he's got all these minerals, but really doesn't have the gas to spend them on. So this extra base will fall. SCV now back down to 5 bases only, and he's running through the middle, always running through the Joker. Your Stalkers blink on top of the Liberators, trying to find something. Disruptor, though, won't land, and you talked about it. There were a couple ghosts for that last fight, but it was like 2. This time, our ghost count is a 5 or 6. It's much stronger here. And while SCV has maxed out again, he's at 120 armor supply, same as the Terran. It's a lot of Zealots. It's a lot of gateway units. It's not these power units that you love to see if you're the Protoss player. No experiments with Immortals, nothing like that. This army, it really relies on these big heavy splash units, and with the Liberators here, with the Ghosts, with the Vikings, it's hard to make contact. That's a cheeky Stalker. How many Stalkers? That was not worth it, Cats.
That was not worth it at all, and I'm not sure. I guess he saw enough of an army on the other side that he thought these Liberators are exposed, but Oliveira did very well to sector enough units to kind of account for the potential blink forward and baits them effectively into it. So really well done by him. Now we'll hold this chokehold with the Liberators themselves. The Stalkers have to blink up on top of them as the Disruptors try to make some room, but beautiful splits on the side of Oliveira are going to prevent any damage from happening. Another base goes down, and the world champion is looking better and better every second.
Yeah, no, again, we're seeing the benefits of playing on the same server. That is often we see these top level Terran players, and they go and they think they can split against, or they think they can stem down and kill Disruptors, but it's beyond playing on Americas or something like that. And it's like, well, you could do that if you're on Korea. You could do that if you're on your home server, but those reflexes a little bit different. Oliveira just beautiful splits in this map twice now. And now we're going to see SCV. He's kind of on the ropes. He's going for that all in. Going to try to kill maybe the orbital, knock that down. But this Liberator pressure, or this Liberator count, this defensive setup that Oliveira has, it's hard, but Stalkers are going to blink on top. Disruptors, that had a better shot, and that was a better shot. Their second one lands here as well. Oliveira, we've been singing his praises on the splits. Cats, it only takes one shot to make that really matter a whole hell of a lot less. So Oliveira, now he's going to have to back up for a second for the first time in a while. SCV, he's got that army supply lead. He's got +3 on the way soon. He's down upgrades, certainly, but just maybe. Here, big concave, but no way. No way. That's 6 Liber. You don't go up there.
Yeah, you don't go up there. I mean, he's been doing the best that he can to try to find himself some room here. Another blink forward very aggressively. This time the Liberator's not facing the Stalker, so maybe he thinks that this is the opportunity to go SCV, and he is going to do okay. Unfortunately for him, it's still the concave, and that is the dance that they have been going for. Is between chokes and these more open areas on the map. And this time around, Oliveira is just confident enough to continue to chase and should be able to clear this army unless enough reinforcements show up. Stalkers are not going to cut it either. They blink on forward. That is not it, and that should be pretty much the end of the game here, I think. BMO, it looks impossible. Yep.
Looked impossible.